So next thing we're going to do is, this is for my class for creating websites. And I've been using WebStorm forever, but now I'm going to try Gogland and see if we can do web stuff in it. I think it'll be fine. But I need to get my repo for the web class. So I'm going to my repositories, and here's this HTML CSS bootcamp right there. And that's the one that we're using in this class. I'm just checking to make sure that's the right one here. Yeah, that's the right one. And so I need to create a repo on my computer, HTML CSS bootcamp. And I have a couple of thoughts about this. Like, I'm not going to put it into my Go workspace. So my Go workspace would be for the Go programming language. But instead, I'm just going to put this into Documents. And so I'll create a new folder here in Documents, and I'm going to name it the exact same as my repo on GitHub. So there's my HTML CSS bootcamp. And the next thing I need to do is I need to configure it to get all of my code. So I want to go to my terminal, and I think I could do this. So, I'm no expert at this stuff, but I think I could just clone it. And so grab this and copy it and use an SSH key and passphrase from account. So I've already set up an SSH key. And on a Mac, there's a certain folder where you store your SSH keys. And so this will allow you to get into your account. It will automatically validate. Secure Shell is what SSH stands for. And so on a Mac, I go to my user directory, ls-la, and then you can see right there there's a .ssh folder. You go into, and this is just a Mac. On Windows, it's more complicated because it's Windows. But you go into that SSH folder, and then you look for instructions, create SSH key Mac. Right? Or you do it on Unix. And then you manually generate your SSH key in Mac OS X. And it's this right here, right? SSH key gen T RSA. And then you take the one with the .pub extension for public, and you go into your settings on GitHub. And so I'd come in here and go into my settings. And then right here I've got SSH keys. And so inside there, I would click and I'd say, hey, here's my public SSH key. And I'd give it to GitHub. And then that allows GitHub and my computer to communicate and authenticate with each other securely. Secure Shell. And so it avoids me having to log in and allows GitHub to integrate well with my computer for authentication. Okay? Anybody have questions about that step? Just information. How many people have done something like that before? Nobody. Cool. So that's what we'll be doing later in this. Later, as you take other classes, maybe this class, right? We'll use Secure Shell to log into remote computers to transfer files and manage our servers. We just log in and manage them. So you could log into a computer on AWS somewhere and configure it. So I got my SSH key set up already. So I come here. And I look at use SSH key and passphrase from account. So I'm going to copy that, and GitHub. So I think it's git clone. And so I'm going to do git clone documentation right here, getting a repository, getting a repository, and getting a repository. You can get a project using two main approaches. The first takes an existing project or directory and imports it into Git. The second clones an existing Git repository from another server. So we want the second, clone an existing repository from another server. So I'm just showing you like, oh, how do I look this stuff up, right? Like if there's a repo, I want to have it on my computer. How do I go get it and get my computer set up? So initializing a repo in an existing directory, cloning an existing repository. So here it's Git, you clone a repository, git clone URL. For example, if you want to clone the Git linkable library called libgit2, you can do this. Git clone that. This creates a directory named libgit2, initializes Git directory inside it, pulls down all the data for that repository, and checks out a working copy of the latest version. If you go into the new libgit2 directory, you'll see the project files in there ready to be worked on or used. If you want to clone the repository in a directory named something other than libgit2, you can specify that as the next command line argument, so you could do it into some other folder. That command does the same thing as the previous one, but the target directory is a different directory. Git has a number of different transfer protocols you can use. The previous example uses HTTPS, but you may also see Git or user at server path, which uses the SSH transfer protocol. Get on the server to introduce you all of the valuable options the server can set up. So it looks like we're just going to try this one, okay? And I'm going to do it. I'm going to get rid of that directory I just created because it sounds like it's going to create it for me. So I'm going to change into documents. And look, and I have that HTML CSS bootcamp. There's nothing in there, so I'm going to remove recursively with force HTML CSS bootcamp. And now if I look to see what's in there, right, that one's gone. And now I'm going to do git clone and paste in git at github.com goes to 11 HTML blah blah blah. And let's just look at that and see here, git clone, and it's interesting. That one here had user at server path repo git, which uses SSH. So I guess I could use SSH. Do you see the difference there? Git clone and just the HTTPS deal. Or now I'm using the user at server path to repo.git. And this one here is git at github.com goes to 11. And yeah, I'm kind of torn because the user here, user at server, git at GitHub. Let's see what happens. We could always delete it, right? And so I'm showing you this whole workflow. I'm not a master of this stuff. Like, I don't do this stuff all the time. You know, I have my own workflows that I use, and I've never taught a class in Git or took a class in Git. And so, okay, I understand a little bit of it. But this is how I look it up, and this is how I get it going. How many people that's helpful you to kind of see, like, how do I work through it? Cool. How many of you that it's not? Cool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You want the helpful one? Yeah. That's fine. It could not be helpful. That's why I asked those surveys. And so that's looking all pretty positive, right? It's pulling a whole bunch of stuff down. And why this happens, I'm going to see if there's a way I could pause this video. So show, start, stop, exit. That's all I could do. So, well, it looks like it's done. Checking connectivity done. Now let's go see what's in there. So ls-la, right? We have HTML CSS bootcamp, but it's not all that large. I think this is measured in bytes, 2,312 bytes. So if we cd into HTML CSS bootcamp and take a look around, hey, there's actually a lot of stuff in there. There's git, git ignore, all those folders. So maybe it's all there. So now I could go back to Goglan. The heck's with that name. All right, I could go back to Goglan and I could choose open, and I could go to desktop, documents, HTML CSS bootcamp, open that. And I have that open, and now I could like just check out this page and see what it looks like. Favorite colors, and then launch it. And nice, right? So it lawn green, hot pink. I'm not seeing those colors for whatever reason, but anyhow, it worked. Brought all my code down, and the web browser thing is working. So just as an exercise, let's try one more thing. I'm going to try one more thing. Let's work with this Git stuff for a second, and then I'll have you guys try it on your computer. Okay? So what's up?
How do I switch this from Windows to Mac, please?
Restart and hold down the Option key when it's restarting. So just power off your computer and then power it back on and hold down Option, and you can switch between Windows and Mac. So so for this experiment here, we'll go back to this. And I want to do git clone and just the URL to the repo, like this example right there. And so I will do right here, and there it is. And what is it? It includes the HTTPS stuff, so I'm just going to copy all that. And if I wanted to put it into a different directory, I add that other directory name. And so now I could just come up a level, and I could go git clone and then paste that and sample. Or temp to delete. Okay, so, and now it's cloning into temp to del. All that stuff. Wow, how cool is that? Right, pretty easy. And now if I go look in documents, I have temp to delete, and there's all those folders it just brought down. So I'm going to actually delete that because I don't want it. The last thing to test with this, and then we'll give you guys a hands-on a little sample assignment, is I'll go into temp here in spring 2017 and create a new directory, and I'll call it 005. And this one is going to be What's it going to be? This one's going to be sample, whatever. And new, and then an HTML file, and index.html. And yes, I always want this to automatically add the following to Git. And then hit yes, and then I'm going to do h1, hello world, and save it, test it, nice, and then doom, doom, and then come back here and change directories into HTML, CSS, and then do a git status. And it says your branches update with origin master, changes to be committed. New file, 005 sample index, changes not staged for commit, modified that index. So git add -- all. And then git status tells me changes to be committed. So git commit -m adds a test file. And git push. Let's see if we're able to push. Cool, so as I am connected with that SSH thing, it recognizes that I'm the owner of this repo because I have SSH set up on my laptop. And now, as the owner of that repo, I've pushed up a new piece of code. I'm allowed to push to this repository. And I look in temp, and I look spring 17, and I look in sample, and there's that file, hello world. So it's all working. So your assignment or your hands-on exercise, because you've listened to me yammer for a little bit, is just try git clone and then the HTTPS thing for this repo right here, and then put it into some other directory. So you saw me do that into that, right? So it's git clone the URL of the repo and then the name of whatever directory you want it to be cloned in if you want a different name for the directory. So run that one, okay, for your hands-on exercise, and just bring it down to your local machine.